What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Get Rich and Go Broke Chine. I'm your host, Eddie Kang. We are in season 2, episode 12. We are going to be covering game 1 of the NBA Finals and every single quarterfinals match of the French Open men and women's. Episode 11, we came back with a bang. We went 8-1. We were 2 points away from a perfect episode. We ended up capitalizing and gaining 6.84 units on the season. So we are now at 37-18, up 31.17 units for season 2. Alts are 109.82 with 2 pushes at plus 42.88 units. For the $25 unit bettors, you would have just cleared over $1,000 profit since the incarnation of this show. Quick recap, not going to go over too much of it. We hit Tiafoe versus Fiora over 39.5 at minus 111. We hit Arnaldi money line at plus 155. We hit Goff over against Potapova 20.5 at minus 111, and those were the only 3 we hit for half unit plays. Our only miss was Landalucci money line versus Cerundolo at plus 123. That was a really tough one. He was up 8-6 in the 5th set tiebreaker, serving to win. Only needed 2 points and lost 4 points in a row to lose 10-8. Only loss on the board. I'll take it. For our 1 unit plays, we had the over in the Berrettini match, also the FAA match. They both cleared at minus 125 and 111. We had the Spurs money line versus the Thunder at plus 128. We had Caboli minus 1.5 sets at minus 135. And our best bet 2 unit play was Madison Keys versus Victoria Mboko at minus 103. So great episode. We're going to try to carry it over onto this one. Starting with the NBA, this is our only play outside of tennis, so I'm just going to go ahead and get started with this one. Knicks versus Spurs. This is a 1999 finals rematch. The Spurs won that series in 5 games. I have a feeling it's going to be a little bit more competitive. This is the first time the Knicks have been to the NBA Finals since that 1999 Finals. I believe when I looked tickets, the cheapest ticket was $4,200 just to get into the nosebleeds for that game. Knicks are on an 11-game winning streak. They haven't lost since April 23rd. They're 10-1 against the spread in their last 11 games. This is the most dominant postseason run in recent memory, even including the 2017 73-win Warriors. They haven't played in 9 days, so this is definitely going to be a rest versus form match. We're going to take the Knicks plus 5 at minus 110 for 1 unit. This was the only play on the NBA board that cleared the EV threshold. The true cover probability on my models is about 54%. The books are offering 110. According to my models, it should be about minus 117. Like I said, 9 days of rest versus the Spurs coming off a brutal 7-game war against the Warriors, the Thunder. I wouldn't be surprised if there's just a little bit of letdown even at home. I don't anticipate it. I think it's still going to be a close game, but I think 5 points is a lot. 5.5 points is a lot for a team that has been red hot through these playoffs. And that game is going to be Wednesday, June. All right. French Open quarterfinals. We're here. This is one of the best weeks in tennis sport during the tennis year. We're going to start with Shnaider versus Sabalenka. We're taking plus 5.5 games at minus 133. This is Wednesday, June 3rd. We're going to put half a unit on this. This is the only play on my board that has negative EV. Only reason I'm taking this because I told myself I was going to find the best bet on every single quarterfinals match. And I do believe that this is the best bet, but we are going to shrink our sizing on it because of the negative EV. This is the first ever meeting against Sabalenka, so there's no head-to-head blueprint. The weather is cooling down this week, so it's going to be extending rallies, and it's also going to make Schneider's clay form or clay play style a lot more suitable than what has been over the heat dome, over what has been a heat dome over the last week in Paris. Also, she's a lefty, so that can create problems for any right-hander just because of the angles. She is 0-6 versus the top 10 of the last 2 weeks. She did just beat Madison Keys 6-3, 3-6, 6-0 in her last match. Keys is just outside of the top 10. So she is in great form, but because of the surface conditions, the competitive ceiling, we're going to keep it small. Sabs is a beast. Just blasted Osaka today in like an hour and 15 minutes. But I don't think that she blows Schneider out. I think she can at least keep it close. We just need 1 set to be close, and we cover this bet. Pick number 3, we're going to take Svitolina money line versus Kostyuk. I'm not sure how to say her name. At plus 105. This is Tuesday, June 2nd at 6:10 a.m. We're going to put 1 unit on this play. You're giving me plus money on the more experienced player. This is her 6th quarterfinal and Roland Garros versus Kostyuk's first. So I do think experience is going to play a factor. Svitolina has won Rome title leading up to French Open. She's on a 10-match clay winning streak entering the tournament, which means she's at, 14 or 15 matches now? She's come back from a set down twice in this tournament to reach the quarterfinal. That shows elite mental toughness. Kostyuk is still processing the biggest win of her career. She just beat world number 3 Iga Swiatek. Just like last episode, I'm going to place the emotional hangover theory on this game. That's the biggest win of her career ever. I think that's going to play a factor in this. It's hard to come back from those type of matches. We saw Cerundolo do it. Props to him, but he ended up fading away after that match. This is their first ever clay meeting. I believe the head-to-head is 1-1, but they were both on hard surfaces. This is a historic match just nationally. There's going to be at least one Ukrainian guaranteed in the semifinals for the first time ever, not even just in the Roland. This is going to be the first time that a Ukrainian has been guaranteed a spot in the Roland Garros semifinals in the Open era history. So this is a massive, monumental match just for their country. But yeah, 1 unit, Svitolina. I feel like this is vastly mispriced. I feel like she should be minus 110, minus 15. I think they're only giving Kostyuk the juice that they're giving her because she's on a 16 match. She's undefeated on clay this year at 16 and but once again, beating Iga, that's going to be hard to overcome. She even said after her match, she's like, I have no idea what just happened. I'm still trying to process this. So I can see her slipping up and falling to Svitolina on this one. Next pick, we are taking Andreva moneyline versus Cirstea at minus 189. Normally, I would not take something this juicy or this juiced, but the EV is strong enough. We have the units to play with it, and I have the conviction and data on my favor for this. So we're going to put 1.5 units on this play. She is 19-3 in 2026 on clay surfaces. She's only dropped 1 set in 2 weeks, including this tournament and the last tournament she was in. She owns the head-to-head over Cirstea. She won convincingly at Linz earlier this year, which is also on clay. This is her 3rd consecutive French Open quarterfinal. She knows how to navigate this stage. She just won her last match in 86 minutes in straight sets. Cirstea is 36. This is her farewell season. She's playing really good tennis right now. I don't believe she's dropped a set in this tournament. But if we were recorded last week, I actually have an outright for Andreva to win this entire tournament. So I already came into this tournament thinking she was going to win it. It only makes sense now that we have the units to back it up to load up on her money line. Next pick, we got Felix Auger-Aliassime, the Canadian, versus Flavio Caboli, the Italian. We are taking FAA money line at minus 127. We are going to put it 1.5 units on this one. He just had his most dominant match of the tournament against Tabilo, 6-3, 7-5, 6-1 straight set victory, which is arguably probably his toughest opponent in the tournament so far. He arrives to the quarterfinals as the freshest player remaining out of the last 8 players. He's played the least amount of time out of the remaining 8. Reports are showing that there's a class gap. I don't really see it. Flavio's a top 10 guy. This is really close to a pick'em. I would not be surprised if Flavio Caboli wins this match at all. He's an excellent clay player. He won, I think we talked about the last episode, he won Acapulco in Mexico earlier this year. I believe it was February. But he's really been grinding outside of his straight set win against Lernertine the other day. He has really been grinding a lot of his matches. This is their first ever meeting. I tend to go over in games when it's their first ever meeting, but FAA at minus 127 with the performance he just put on the day, is really hard for me not to take him money line. So 1.5 units minus 127. Let's get it. My last 4 picks are all going to be 1.5 units. We're going to start off with Rafael Jodar, the teenage sensation, taking on Alexander Zverev in the quarterfinals, I believe. Yes, this is the first time they've ever played. The only top player that Jodar's played so far is Sinner, and he lost it was close. I think he lost like 6-3, 6-7 in that match. But we're taking the over 37.5 games at minus 111. This is a 1.5 unit play. This is Tuesday, June 2nd, 7:30 a.m. Analysts are universally predicting Zverev in 5 sets. Jodar has come back from 2 sets down versus Carreño Busta. In his last match, he lost the first 2 sets 4-6, 4-6, and then won 6-3, 6-1, 6-2 in the final 3. So we know he doesn't quit. We know he can turn it up whenever he wants to. My only concern with this pick is Zverev's play style fits exactly into how Jodar likes to play. He has a great serve game. He has an amazing top spin, and he can really flip Jodar's power and forehand against him. One thing that propelled me to take the over in this match is Zverev is a known choke artist in Grand Slams. Like, me and my friends have joked during this tournament that if Zverev doesn't win this tournament, he needs to go ahead and retire, because if he does not win this French Open, he will never, ever, ever win a major. This is his chance. There is no Sinner, there is no Alcaraz, there is no Joker, which means there is no excuse on why he doesn't win. And for some reason, nobody believes he's gonna fucking win it. Everything in me tells me that this is going over. It's just Zverev, man. It's always Zverev. He just finds a way to choke. It should go under, but everything tells me that it's not going to. So Zverev, Jodar, 37.5 games over, 1.5 units. That's all I got for you guys on that one. Next up, we got Berrettini versus Arnaldi. We're also taking the over in this game, a 39.5, minus 111. Arnaldi just played a 5-set war with Tiafoe today. I believe it went just over 5.5 hours or just under 5.5 hours. Arnaldi has played over 18 hours in his 4 matches with 2 5-setters in it. Berrettini is a lot fresher. He's only played 13 hours across 4 matches with 1 5-setter. They both have about 38 to like 42 hours of recovery time between their last matches before they play this. This is the first time they've ever meeting. Like I just told you guys a couple picks ago, anytime there's a first ever head-to-head meeting, I tend to lean the over, just because a lot of it is guys feeling each other out, pause. So it's just naturally for them to, it's just like in a boxing match. You take the first couple rounds to get a feel for your opponent and decide how you're going to play the rest of the match. The weather's going to be cooler this week, which means it's going back to clay style. Both of these guys are Italian. They grew up on clay surface. This is the biggest stage either of them has ever played on a Grand Slam. So I do believe this is going to go 4 or 5 sets. And if it goes 4 or 5 sets, we're clearing the over by far. All right, second to last pick, but this is our biggest EV play of the pod. We're taking Kalinskaya versus, I have no idea how to say this woman's name. I think it's Chwalinska. We're going over 2.5 sets at plus 126. This has a 44.6 EV percentage through my models. We're placing a 1.5 units on it. The true probability is a 64%. If you give me 64% true probability on any plus money play, I'm taking that automatically, no questions asked. Both of their matches have went 3 sets in recent. In their last match, Kalinskaya won 6-4, 2-6, 7-6. I'm sorry. Yeah. And then Chwalinska won 1-6, 6-3, 6-2. This is their first ever meeting. Starting to see a theme here. So once again, going over. But with this one, because it's women's tennis and it's best 2 out of 3 and not 3 out of 5, the value is on the over 2.5 sets instead of just the over game total. This is both their first ever Grand Slam quarterfinals, which means they're guaranteed both are going to feel some type of pressure, be nervous at some point. Excuse me. Kalinskaya saved multiple match points this time on a Klingsway. I believe she saved 5 match points against her last opponent, including 4 in the 3rd set tiebreaker. Chwalinska. She's only dropped 1 set all tournament. She came through the qualifying round, so she is on fire right now. Everything at my models points to this going 3 sets, which means, of course, it's going to go 2 sets. But you know what? We're not going to put any bad voodoo on this. Over 2.5 sets plus 126, 1.5 units. Lock it in. Last pick. It's not our strongest pick on the board via EV. It is our second at 31.4%. But me personally, I believe this is the cleanest play of the card. I'm also a little bit biased. It's our boy, Fonseca. We're going to take the over 37.5 games versus Jaka Mensik at minus 125. Both of these teenagers have spent 27 combined hours on the court this tournament. Each of Fonseca's last 3 matches have went well over 37.5 games. 2 of Mensik's last 3 matches have went over 37.5 games. The only one that didn't was against Demonauer 2 matches ago, and if he didn't get bageled 6-0 in the first set, it probably would have went over. This is their first ever clay meeting. Mensik has the head-to-head edge 2-0, but they're both on hard court, so when it comes to that, throw it out. It has nothing to do with clay. Both are in their first ever Grand Slam quarterfinal. I don't think Fonseca's going to feel the pressure as much as Mensik does, just because Fonseca just beat Djokovic. I feel like that had a Grand Slam, I'm not going to say a final, but like a quarterfinal, semifinal feel to it. He was down 2 in that match and came back and won in 3 sets. So I don't feel like he's going to feel the pressure. Now, Mensik has won an APT 1000 title. He won Miami last year. He's beaten Sinner before. That's something that Fonseca hasn't done. He beat Sinner this year, as a matter of fact. Sinner's only lost 3 times this year. Djokovic, Mensik, and Cerundolo. One of those do not belong. But this is a nice match, which means cooler conditions, slower ball. It's going to neutralize Mensik's serve, and I think it's really going to accentuate Fonseca's forehand. There's a chance that Fonseca wins this in 3. I don't think he does. I think Mensik gets at least 1, and it pushes the 4 sets. So at minus 125, I feel like that's really clean value. We're going to throw a unit and a half on that one. All right, so that was a very supercharged episode. I think we did it in faster time than the last episode. So just a quick recap. We're going to take Andreva moneyline versus Cirstea, minus 189 at 1.5 units. We're taking Svitolina moneyline plus 105, 1 unit. We're taking the over 37.5 on Jodar and Zverev at minus 111, 1.5 units. Over 37.5 on Fonseca Mensik, minus 125 at 1.5 units. Over 2.5 sets on the Kalinskaya Chwalinska match at plus 126. We're going to put in 1.5 units on that. We're putting in a lot on this one. Berrettini Arnaldi over 39.5, minus 111, 1.5 units on that. Our only play under 1 unit on this episode is going to be Shnaider plus 5.5 versus Sabalenka at minus 133, and I have a feeling I'm going to be kicking myself for not putting a unit and a half on that one too. But we're only going to put half a unit on that one. And then our only non-tennis play of this week, or at least for this episode, we're taking the Knicks plus 5 versus the Spurs at minus 110 at 1 unit. So overall, I believe our total exposure is 11 units. If we go 9-0, that puts us up 56 units for the year. If we go 7-2, we'll be around 49.5, depending on who the 2 losers were. But either way, we are in great shape to start the year, to continue through the year. I can only imagine how far we'd be up right now if I didn't take that 2-month hiatus. But, physical and mental health is everything. As always, I cannot stress to you guys enough to gamble responsibly. I will probably record again Thursday or Friday. Probably Thursday, because I believe the semifinals start on Friday. So, as always, gamble responsibly. Get rich or go broke, chime, baby.